2. Hello? Is this on? One, two, 1, 2. Okay, there we go. Well, hello everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks as well for the people tuning in on the stream. Today, Diversity Week is presenting Lex Scott. I'll just give her the introduction and she'll come up. Just a quick information on Lex Scott. She was born in Denver, Colorado. She's been part of the United Front Civil Rights. That's where she started 6 years ago with in regards to activism. Then 3 years ago, she founded the Black Lives Matter chapter in Utah. A little bit about her work is that she has done Know Your Rights training in elementary, junior high, and high schools. Talking about knowing your rights when approached by a police officer. And she also holds yearly a summer camp for black kids where they get taught karate, knowing the rights when approached by a police officer, and her STEM activities. Additionally, she has been involved with the Salt Lake City Mayor for a Black Lives Matter mural outside City Hall. She meets with the Salt Lake Police Department every 2 weeks for police accountability and transparency. And one more fact about her, she has also been interviewed by Fox News with Senator Mike Lee, and after that interview, she was called by the Governor Gary Herbert to talk about police policies and everything. So please give her a round of applause for Lex Scott.
What's good, Utah State? Go Aggies. I love your school. I love your campus. I love Logan. I spent freshman year here. So once an Aggie, always an Aggie. So you guys want to hear about Black Lives Matter. Who was at my speech last year so I know how redundant I can be? Lame. Okay, good. You're going to hear the same speech again. Enjoy. So, I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City is 2% black. Utah is 2% black, and there weren't a lot of black kids around me. I was called the N-word in kindergarten, and I was bullied a lot in high school, and I was really shy. That's my daughter right there. She also is very shy, and I didn't really know how to defend myself, so I grew up with a lot of rage. I still have that rage, and I wanted to help people who don't have a voice here. So I started the United Front Civil Rights Organization. That's a national organization. We have 30,000 members. And then people kept asking me to start a Black Lives Matter chapter. I didn't want to start a Black Lives Matter chapter because I feel like I didn't have control over someone going out, shooting a whole bunch of cops, and saying, I'm with Black Lives Matter, right? And I'm a control freak. You know that about me. And so I didn't want to do that. I finally did that, protested in Ferguson twice. Let's talk about Ferguson, Missouri. Let's talk about how this movement began, okay? Because it began in Ferguson, Missouri. So let's talk about that because people say a lot of things about Ferguson. So Mike Brown was walking down the street, Canfield Drive, with his friend in Ferguson. Canfield is a tiny street. If you ever go to Ferguson, the first thing I remember thinking about Canfield was how do two cars fit down the street at the same time? He and his friend were walking down the middle of Canfield, which is a tiny street. Darren Wilson pulled behind them in a police cruiser. He told them to get out of the street. Mike Brown then started screaming obscenities at Darren Wilson, okay? And then he kept walking. Darren Wilson took his car, pulled it around on the side of Mike Brown. And then Darren Wilson tried to open his door. Mike Brown shut his door. Then Darren Wilson reached for his gun. Then Mike Brown reached in the vehicle to kind of stop him from shooting him with his gun. That's when the first shot was fired. The first shot went through Mike Brown's hand and into Darren Wilson's door and splattered all over the door. That is when Mike Brown began running away. That is when Darren Wilson got out and began shooting at him. He shot at him several times. He missed him several times. But when one of the bullets connected, Mike Brown turned around, put his hands in the air, began surrendering. Darren Wilson continued to fire. Mike Brown fell to his knees. While Mike Brown was on the ground, Darren Wilson shot a shot at Mike Brown's head. He missed. That bullet was found in Canfield Drive. People say, Mike Brown didn't have his hands in the air. The autopsy proves it. Autopsies prove time of death and how someone died, not where their hands were when you were being shot. Every witness in that grand jury testified that Mike Brown had his hands in the air, okay? Because he did. Now, after that, Darren Wilson left the body in the middle of Canfield for 4 hours. The blood started dripping down the middle of Canfield. There's a lot of kids. So the residents of Canfield took rose petals and put them all over the trail of blood. They put teddy bears and candles. Then Ferguson's PD started driving 90 miles an hour, running over the memorial, over and over and over and over again, okay? So the residents of Canfield made a line in the middle of the street and said, stop driving 90 down our street. There are kids here. They stopped a police vehicle. The police then sicked canines on them, okay? Now, the residents, now when I found out, the first time I heard about Mike Brown, someone from the United Front called me and said, Lex, they just killed a kid on my street. He died with his hands in the air. We're not going down like Florida. And I'll explain that later. But he said, I said, go film everything. I want you to go to Canfield, film everything. We have everything on film, everything. So they went down there, the crowds grew. Darren Wilson put the body in the back of a police cruiser. He never had any medical help. They took the body away. Darren Wilson went home, washed his hands, washed the evidence off of his hands, changed his uniform, destroyed evidence, and never filed a police report, okay? Then they were trying to pull his criminal record. The first thing you need to know is that I don't care if someone robbed 10 banks today, that person deserves to make it to court. Police are not judge, jury, and executioner. Every time a black person is killed by police, the first thing they do is pull our criminal record in an attempt to dehumanize us after we are dead. We deserve to make it to court like these white mass shooters get to make it to court, okay? So I don't care if Mike Brown robbed 10 banks while smoking marijuana in a tutu. The man was killed for jaywalking, and it's not okay. And we still fight for Mike Brown. So the residents of Ferguson started protesting down Florissant, and that's like State Street, or here that would be like Main Street. I don't know. And there were 8 hours of peaceful protests. There were rappers, singers, and then when they got in the middle of Florissant, police had, riot gear and started shooting tear gas at them. That incites a crowd, and I'll talk about inciting a crowd in a minute. What else did the police do? They shot tear gas into the yards of people who were asleep. They hogtied a 16-year-old girl and threw her in the back of a police cruiser for 8 hours. They infringed upon the rights of everyone in Ferguson. If you ever get a chance, read the Department of Justice's ruling on Ferguson Police Department, because that didn't really make a lot of news, did it? They dismantled that entire police department. They have the dream that I would love. It's called a federal consent decree. That means your police department is so bad, they lose all power. And the DOJ comes in and takes over the police department. That's what they have in Ferguson. That's what I would love to have in West Valley, Cottonwood Heights, Orem, right? So anyway, Ogden's horrible. Okay. So, you know, when I went to protest in Ferguson, it was honestly one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. There were 3-year-olds on the front line in Ferguson. There were 80-year-old men on the front lines in Ferguson. We sang, we danced, we ate pizza, we chanted, we laughed so hard. The black unity was beautiful. And it was just a beautiful movement, because it wasn't people clout chasing or trying to get fame or trying to make money off of the movement. It was a beautiful moment where I flew in from Utah. They welcomed me instantly. You know, it was a time where we knew, hey, we are sick of the injustice. We are sick of black people being murdered at the hands of police, and we are standing together against this injustice. I went to Ferguson twice and protested, and then I came back here and I started Black Lives Matter, Utah. All right, next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. Okay, the first thing you need to know is pro-black isn't anti-white. There's my white husband, whiter than the falling snow. Look at him. So creamy and white. Okay, we can love our black skin. Loving our black skin doesn't mean we hate white people. Okay, next slide. What do? So we came back and we started meeting with the chief of police, the deputy chief of police, the mayor's office in Salt Lake Police Department. We've been meeting with them for 4 years. We do this every 2 weeks. We implemented 3 types of de-escalation training into Salt Lake PD. Next slide. We implemented diversity training into Salt Lake PD. Next slide. I asked them to up the diversity of their police department because the majority of officer-involved shootings in this country are done by white men. I want women officers and I want people of color. Due to us working with their recruiters, they have upped the diversity of their police department by 30%. Next slide. Okay, that's a body cam. We push. So myself and Utah Against Police Brutality, we protested Mayor Jackie Biskupski 30 times to get a body cam policy that says all body cam footage has to be released within 10 days of every officer involved shooting, unedited with sound. We have that policy. Just a side note, I'm friends with Jackie now, okay? We just hung out. Anyway, love Jackie Biskupski. Okay, so yeah, we have our body cam policy. Next slide. Data collection. Every time I say, hey, police are racist, people say, it's in your head. Stop pulling the race card, Lex. And then I say, that's why I want police to track the race and ethnicity of every person they're pulling over and arresting, because police are pulling over black and brown people at 5 to 11 times the rate of white people and giving us higher sentences for lesser crimes. Boom. They are now tracking that data. What did they find? Exactly what I said, because you know I'm always right all the time. Okay, so yes, they are pulling us over at 11 times the rate of white people, okay? However, we now have a bill, Capitol Hill, that will make all police departments do this. Every police department, okay? Yeah, clap for that. Love it. Because they're no longer gonna say, it's the race card. They're no longer gonna say that to us. Next slide. Okay, that is a taser. So, our chapter is one of the only chapter, okay, we're the only chapter in the country that pushes for less than lethal weapons in every police car. What does that mean? That means I asked the governor to give every police officer in this state a rubber bullet gun in their car. I asked for funding for that. I met with the Salt Lake County Mayor, Jenny Wilson. I asked her for that. I met with the Salt Lake City Mayor, Erin Mendenhall. I asked her for that. I've asked Mitt Romney for that, Ben McAdams for that, Mike Lee for that, Jake Anderegg for that, Derek Kitchen for that. Every elected official that I meet with, I have asked them for that. I actually met with the mayor of Mill Creek and about his budget for police, and I said, please give every officer a rubber bullet gun in their vehicle. Why is that? In the Pickievic case, one officer shot a real bullet, another officer shot a rubber bullet. They both went at the same time. I wish that both officers would have had a rubber bullet gun, okay? Tasers are horrible. They fail all the time. They are the worst. I want police officers to have a rubber bullet gun. Next slide. Okay. When West Valley Police, okay, when Logan Police shoot someone, okay, Brigham City Police will come in and investigate that shooting, okay? Then they will find Logan innocent, all right? Then 2 months later, when Brigham City Police has an officer-involved shooting, Logan Police will come in, investigate that shooting, find them innocent. It is a conflict of interest. We need independent civilian review boards that have the power to investigate and bring charges against police, okay? I want them to have subpoena power. I want them to have the power to fire police. I want them to have the power to bring charges against police. This is not a new idea. People have these all over the country. Let's get on board, Utah. Anyway, there's a man named Paul Ray who is the son of Satan, and he is related to the Antichrist. And he passed a bill called HB 415 that makes it illegal to create civilian review boards in the state of Utah, okay? I have some legislators that are going to go ahead and repeal that bill in January so we can have this, okay? Next slide. Legislation. I wrote a bill called the Police Accountability and Transparency Act. I wrote it 3 years ago. I used to give it to legislators. They would ignore me. Everyone has ignored this movement for 6 years. People have slammed doors in my face. They've told me I'm too controversial. They have ignored me for 6 years. And then in June, it became trendy. And jump on the Black Lives Matter bandwagon. Can I have a Black Lives Matter sign? But I've been here for 6 years. And I wrote this legislation. Everyone ignored me. I thought it was the most controversial thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I read the Justice in Policing Act. And then I was like, ho, 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 I am not controversial. I created a petition online called the We Want a Police Reform Bill Now. I addressed it to Nancy Pelosi. It has 1 million signatures. They wrote the Justice in Policing Act. It has everything that my bill has, plus 50 million more things. It has a police misconduct database, okay? It ties police funding to police performance. It has data collection. It has less than lethal weapons. It has diversity training, de-escalation training, qualified immunity reform. Like, it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. It is in Washington, D.C. It passed the House. It needs to pass the Senate. Next slide. We file lawsuits. I love suing people. It's my favorite thing to do. I love suing people. Okay, so the strategy for 2020 for Black Lives Matter Utah is every time someone brings a legitimate case of racism to me, I get them a lawyer to sue the racist, to sue that business, to sue that police department, to sue whoever. Because racists, we're no longer going to beg racists not to be racist against us. They need to get sued. And I love doing it. Okay, next slide. We protest. Okay, let's talk about protesting. I've been protesting for 7 years. I am really sick of protesting. I'm so tired of protesting. I've protested too much. We use protest as a tool and a last resort. We have never had an arrest. We don't incite violence. We don't destroy property. I'm using protest as a last resort. In June, when this became a trendy movement, people would call me every day, when are we going to protest? When are we going to protest? And I'm like, we don't just protest because it's a carnival and it's fun. We use it as a tool. If we need body cam footage, we protest. If I need a teacher fired for racism, we protest. I'm not just going to protest because people think it's fun and they want to pretend they're part of the movement. I canceled the protest in Logan today because there was a threat, a direct threat. And I've been counter-protested a million times, but Logan hasn't. And I feel like the people here are fairly new protesters, and I don't think you're ready for the violence. We get attacked. Someone aimed a gun at Ray and I. Where's Ray? That's Ray Duckworth. Round of applause for Ray Duckworth. I love her. The last protest we were at, a white supremacist started aiming a gun at Ray and I, spraying us with bear spray, attacking us, and he got arrested for that, but he wanted to kill us. So I don't think Logan's ready for that, so I canceled the protest tonight just to keep the people in Logan safe. But trust us, Ray and I aren't afraid of those people, but we just want to make sure Logan was safe. All right, next slide. Petition, like I said, I have a petition on change.org. It was one of the top 6 at one point. Next slide. Calling campaigns. You know, like I did a calling campaign to Eric Holder in 2014. I did a calling campaign that stayed in execution of a black prisoner. If we need help and we don't think protests will do it, we'll put the phone number in our Facebook page and we'll just call the person or the hospital, and we'll just ring them off the hook until we get what we want. Legislators, like when they were trying to pass HB 415, I did week-long calling campaigns to legislators to vote against that bill. And we changed a few votes, but we still lost. Next slide. The rules of the chapter, I wrote them myself. No homophobia, no transphobia, no misogyny, no internalized misogyny, no destroying property, no inciting violence, no ableism, no profiting off the movement. I think that's it. And when I talk about no violence, like I always tell this story that in our Facebook page somebody posted, hey, my neighbors have this racist Halloween decoration. I'm going to go tear it down today. Then another member of the group commented, I'm going to come help. Then another member commented, I will drive. I kicked all 3 of those people out of the chapter. Okay? We don't play that. Okay? We don't destroy property because black people already have a hard enough time getting a job in this country without a criminal record. Okay? We already have a hard enough time. They already throw our resumes in the garbage when we have ethnic names. So I'm not going to give them any more fuel. Every protest I go to, I want the message to be, hey, we need body cam footage, or hey, we want this person fired. I don't want the headline to say, hey, Black Lives Matter burned down a building today, because it detracts from why we came out to protest. But don't get it twisted. We mourn broken bodies, not broken buildings. You can, when I see buildings burning online, and when you see buildings burning across this country, if the burning building bothers you more than watching George Floyd be killed on film, you are the problem. Do not value property over lives. You can replace a building. You can never bring back Bobby Duckworth. Patrick Harmon, Elijah Smith, Diamante Revere, Darian Hunt, James Barker, Dylan Taylor, Cindrea Europe, Cody Bellegarde, Bernardo Palacios, Breonna Taylor. You can never bring these people back. Burn buildings because I need my criminal record and I need my chapter to have their criminal record intact so they can get those jobs, and I want my message to be intact, okay? So I don't allow people in my chapter to do that, but I don't judge other chapters that do that. Next slide. Summer camp. We hold a summer camp for black children. Guess where our summer camp is? Logan, Utah. Raise your hand, Mario. This is Mario. Round of applause for Mario. Stand up, stand up. Mario runs our Logan chapter. Turn around, bow, bow. This is Mario. As I said before, this is the coolest man who ever lived. All right, thank you, Mario. But we found a black-owned summer camp that has cabins, hot showers, a gymnasium, a lake with boats. It's 20 acres of black-owned land in Logan, and we rent it out every year for the kids. Okay, we teach them STEM, we have the time of our life, and it is in Logan. This year we had to cancel because of the pandemic, and it breaks all of our hearts, because if you've ever been to our camp, like, remember when I put all the camp counselors on stage? So I put all the camp counselors on stage on the last day of camp, and I'm like, just say a few words, and this is my impression of the camp counselors. I'm gonna miss all you can. Just crying. It's a mess. Anyway, we love camp. It's the best part of Black Lives Matter. Next slide. Okay, we are intersectional. What does that mean? That means we fight for the rights of every marginalized group. That means the gay community, the Latinx community, the Pacific Islander community, the indigenous community, the disabled community, the Asian community, the Muslim community. If you aren't fighting for every marginalized group, your civil rights are trash. Your civil rights are trash. Okay, why is that? Remember the suffragettes? White women, right? They're like, we're gonna get the right to vote, right? And then black women came along and said, hey, we would like the right to vote. And the suffragettes were like, get out of here, black women. And then the suffragettes got the right to vote, and they're like, yay, we're heroes. And then black women didn't get the right to vote till 50 years later. That is trash. That is called trash feminism, ladies. All right. If we are not fighting, okay, the white women suffer sexism, right? Black women suffer sexism and racism. We are more marginalized. Black trans women experience sexism, transphobia, homophobia, racism, right? And a trans woman of color with disabilities suffers ableism, sexism, transphobia, homophobia, racism, right? When that trans woman of color has equal rights, we all have equal rights. So we have to fight for that trans woman of color to have equal rights. All of us have someone who is more marginalized than we are. And that is the person we need to fight for. Because if we don't fight for that person, we're trying to gain equal footing with our oppressor. And that is called trash feminism. God, my beautiful singing voice. Okay, next slide. This isn't our bus. The bus I will set on fire. We bought a school bus to turn into a Black History Museum. I will set it on fire. It has been 2 years. It is being painted this week. It is the biggest pain in my entire butt. Last time we get in the bus, the battery is dead, and I'm like, ah! The whole goal of the bus is to take it from school to school so every black child in the state can see Black history. The goal is to get it done by Black History Month, please, Lord. Or I will set the bus on fire. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Woo, the FBI. Woo. Okay, so the FBI called me on the phone one day and they were like, hey, Lex, come hang out. And I was like, I'm good. And they're like, just come hang out real quick. So I went, a whole bunch of other leaders of color went. I think the Mexican consulate was there, Karen Kwan was there, a whole bunch of people were there. And the FBI's like, hey Lex, we're trying to improve our reputation in the black community. And they're like, just so you know, we can prosecute police brutality and we can prosecute hate crimes federally. And then they invited me to attend their civilian academy, and I did, and I graduated from that, and I gave them hell every day. And then I went to Quantico with my creamy white husband. You like Quantico? Yeah? I mean, it's kind of boring, right? Like the bomb lab was cool, right? And then we got to shoot. He didn't get to go to the shooting range, but on the last day of the FBI Academy, you get to shoot like all their guns. That was really cool. Long story short, everybody calls me an FBI informant because I work with the FBI. I send them police brutality cases. I send them hate crimes because we all know police are not going to prosecute themselves, right? Like I was just somewhere the other day where somebody committed a hate crime and they're like, Lex, you're going to call the police? I'm like, I'm Black Lives Matter. Like we don't call the police, we call the FBI directly for everything. Like people give me death threats and they try to kill me, okay? And so I'm always calling my agent and he's always saying, did you call the police? And I'm like, no, I called you, FBI. Now help me out. Anyway, next slide. Domestic violence. Service we provide at Black Lives Matter is a lot of black women don't like to call the police. So I will, if I get a domestic violence case, I will strap my gun on and I will head to her house. Doesn't matter what time, and get her out of her house. Next slide. One of our leaders, Trevor, took his life, okay? So I like to tell people who are coming to the movement, please take care of your mental health. I feel like there were signs before Trevor died. I can't really talk about Trevor. It makes me cry. Rest in power, Trevor. If you're going to be in this movement, take care of your mental health. Next slide. Elections. Gosh, I'm a problem for elections in the state. I don't know. So this is my strategy this year. We live in a red state. And so I need police reform bills to get through. So I've been meeting with Republicans and Democrats. And I've actually endorsed, I believe, 5 Republicans in this current election. Because I like them. I don't know what to say. So the strategy, I'm not a Democrat, I'm a Bernie girl. I was co-chair of Bernie Sanders' campaign. So I don't think we should vote for someone because they're a Democrat. I feel like the black community has just given our vote to Democrats. And I feel like Democrats don't do anything. I feel like they come to our neighborhoods and promise us the world during the election, and then when the election's over, they just bounce and they don't give us anything. So, I've been giving the Democrats hell this year. If they want my endorsement and my vote, they need to help the black community. Well, I'm giving that endorsement to a Republican, and I have. And if you follow me, you know that. So I don't vote for someone because they're a Democrat or a Republican. I look at their track record and I look at their stance on police reform. Next slide. This is called the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And I just put this up to be ironic because the majority of civil rights complaints that I receive are simply it has to do with a racist who is breaking the Civil Rights Act. And so the majority of the time when I go out on a civil rights call, I have to explain to the racist, hey, do you know you are breaking the Civil Rights Act of 1964? And I'm wondering, are they teaching this in Utah schools? That like it's a federal law and you can't break it? Black Lives Matter Utah is here to enforce this. What else do? We feed the homeless Thanksgiving dinner. Mario is a baller. Do you know what that means? Okay, he's rich. Okay. So anyway, for Thanksgiving dinner last year, so we fed 300 unsheltered people Thanksgiving dinner. Mario shows up with like 100 turkeys and Tillamook cheese. And the whole time I'm like, look at this rich people cheese. And he made like, the best macaroni and cheese. We learned a few things. Eat before you come, because like I wanted to eat everything. I think we almost died that day. The whole chapter took the entire day of Thanksgiving. We didn't spend it with our families. We spent it serving the unsheltered. Because Mario is amazing. One more story about Mario. On Christmas, here we go. You think you can do these things. Mario calls me on Christmas Eve. I will kill you. And says, Lex, what are we doing? What are we doing for like the homeless for Christmas? And I go, it's Christmas Eve, Mario. We'll do something next year. No, we have to, Lex. And I'm like, Mario, I'm sorry. Come on. And so I put up like a GoFundMe. We raised like $3,000 in an hour. We raised all this money. Then Mario went shopping for Christmas presents, but Mario's a baller. So he's buying freaking Gucci stuff for the homeless and Tommy Hilfiger stuff. And I go, Mario, we can get more if you don't buy like the best stuff in the whole world. And he's like, when he was little, he didn't have brand name stuff. So he wanted the homeless kids to have brand name stuff. I'm done with you. And then we drove around all night into Christmas Day, delivering money, Visa gift cards, blankets, groceries, toys to Black refugee families and homeless families. And that was all Mario. Round of applause for Mario. Next slide. And don't wait this time. Oh my God. Okay, and these are just, where's my time? Len, what time is it? Okay, I have 15 minutes, so I'm just going to wrap up by saying, I'm going to let you guys ask questions about the movement. What else do? We do Know Your Rights trainings. We did a financial training. We just did our first Black gun owners field trip. We practice our right to carry in the chapter, and a lot of Black people are like, Lex, we want to buy guns, we're afraid to go to gun stores. So we did a big field trip of Black people where we went to a gun store together, bought a whole bunch of guns and ammo, and had the time of our lives. That was last week. What else do we do in this freaking chapter? Did I miss anything? No. I go around to schools. I've spoken at every university in the state except for Snow College, and that includes BYU. During Black History Month, I go around and give presentations. I do diversity trainings. Tomorrow I'm doing a diversity training for Westminster College. I think that's it. I think that's all we do. I feel like we do more. I don't know what we do. What? Yeah, so we do civil rights complaints. So, I take civil rights complaints all day. I think that's it, but, the goal, like my number one goal is, and this is the most important part of Black Lives Matter, is we have the families of Bobby Duckworth in our chapter, right? Bobby Duckworth was murdered by police. His girlfriend called the police. said he's suicidal, so the police show up and murder him. We have Patrick Harmon's family in our chapter, Elijah Smith's family, Diamante Rivera, Andrea Europe, James Barker, Dylan Taylor. These people aren't just headlines. To you, they're headlines. Their moms never get to say goodbye. They get a phone call. Your son's dead. We'll let you know when the body's ready. Well, how did he die? We can't talk about it. There's an active investigation. We'll call you when the body's ready. Can I see the body cam footage? We'll call you when the body's ready. They call me, Lex, what happened to my son? I don't know. I'm going to protest for that body cam footage for you. I have to have that body cam footage because it shows the last moments of their son or daughter's life. Then they see their body, like Harold Robinson's mom. The police shot him 350 times. They blew off half his head. Had to be a closed casket for that one. Cindrea Europe, that had to be a closed casket. That police officer ran over her head twice. Why did the officer kill my daughter? Why? That's always what they ask me. Why? And there is no reason. There is no reason for them to murder us. They need to practice de-escalation training. I don't care how big our criminal records are. Our lives matter. We need to make it to court. They can capture these white mass shooters alive. They never get to say goodbye. They never get to spend another birthday with their son or daughter. Never. Brian Valencia was on his last day of drug treatment in a rehab center, and the night before he was about to graduate, police killed him. But that police officer didn't turn on his body cam. We will never know what happened. Never. And his family says, why to me? Why? Because this country never cared about black people. Never. So when you're out there, you know, and people are arguing with these words are so important. We never said that our lives mattered more or the most. We said that our lives matter because they do, and this country treats us like they don't. They treat us like we don't, you know. And a lot of racists in Utah will say, hey, I'm not racist, I have a black friend. Having a black friend doesn't make you incapable of committing a racist act. There's my white husband. He is capable of committing racially insensitive acts even though his wife and his daughter are black. So don't say, I have a black friend. Don't say, I don't see color because you better see my color. What an insult. My color is beautiful, okay? When people say Black Lives Matter, don't say all lives matter. The reason people say that is because white people have always been the default in this country. They label us as Native Americans, African Americans, Latinx Americans, but we don't call them Caucasian Americans because they are the default choice in every situation. And when they hear black, they're not hearing white, and it bothers them. Where does it say your life doesn't matter? Do you run through cancer fundraisers screaming all diseases matter? When you kiss your mom and say I love you, does your dad run in and say all mothers matter? It's ignorant. Don't ever say it. Don't ever say it. All lives will matter when this country finally realizes that Black Lives Matter. Finally. 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 So that's what we're here for. We are here for the police brutality victims. We're here to prevent more murders by police, because when they're murdering people, these are people. They aren't headlines. And they miss their families. And I'm not going to stop till they are held accountable for their actions. And that's January 2021. That's when Black Lives Matter is about to bring the pain to this state. We have 130 police reform bills on the Hill. 130! And guess what? I got some Republicans to write some of those bills. Correct. So, that's my presentation. I hope you loved it so much that it made you cry. Just kidding. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions about the movement? And don't be afraid. You can't offend me, trust me. Trust me. I have white supremacists in my inbox every day. What do you got? What work am I most proud of? I honestly feel like I've been working for 7 years and have accomplished nothing, okay? Honestly. I'm proud of the mural in Salt Lake City that we got, the Black Lives Matter mural. That was a process. That was a hard process. I'm proud that the Black Lives Matter kids have me on speed dial. What does that mean? Like, their parents have me on speed dial. That means that anytime someone messes with a Black Lives Matter kid, their mom calls me and says, Lex, they mess with our son. And they know that I'm just like, like last year, Cottonwood, Canyon School District had a racist school handbook. And one of the Black Lives Matter kids called his dad. His dad called me. I drove to the superintendent. The superintendent said, I'm so sorry, Lex, threw away every manual, reprinted the manuals, and then that little kid's like, got Lex? And then there's a little girl named Amina who apparently goes around to all the kids in her school and is like, you mess with me, I'm calling Lex. Like, don't mess with me. I think that's the proudest thing, is that nobody was ever there for me when I was little. And now these black kids, like, they know. I'm going to bring the pain if somebody messes with like a Black Lives Matter kid. Any other questions? Okay, she wants to know the best way she can support us to get those bills passed. Really, guys, this is so trite when I say please write and call your congressmen and your senators, and because you're like, God, everybody tells us to do that. But sometimes I'll approach a senator or congressman or representative and I'll say, hey, I need this police reform bill, and they're like, it's just not popular in my district. Black Lives Matter isn't popular in my district. When they get emails from you, it tells them, hey, there are people in my district that care about police reform. If you can please send them emails, find out who's your district and send them emails so that they care about police reform in January. Please. Anyone else? You troublemaking Aggies? I know you guys. Anybody? Never? How much time do I have, Lan? 5 minutes? I have 5 minutes? Okay. Any other questions? Because I'll let you escape. No? Someone? He keeps pointing to someone. Okay. I'm like, you're invisible. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming and hearing me. And Black Lives Matter. Thanks.